Hi guys, my name is Kinsey. I'm a lab assistant here at UNT's TECM Tech Lab. Today I'm going to be giving you guys our Microsoft Excel graphs orientation. So in this orientation, you guys are going to learn how to use some of Microsoft Excel's different tools and features to create your own stacked graphs and pie charts. You're also going to learn how to import these graphs and charts to Microsoft Word and how to add captions and insert a table of figures. So let's begin. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do to begin our Microsoft Excel graphs orientation is we're actually going to go to the UNT TECM Tech Lab site because we're going to have to download some files that we're going to use in our orientation. So once you have the internet open, just type in the Tech Lab's URL. It's just tinyurl.com/TECM site. Once we have that site open, we're just going to navigate over to the Student Resources tab. Once we've opened up our Student Resources tab, we're going to scroll to the bottom of that page. You should see a section titled Orientation Files. Once you see that, we're just going to scroll until we see Microsoft Excel Files. We're just going to open that. Once that's loaded, you should see a Twitter logo. And we're just going to copy and save this to our desktop to use later on in our orientation. So to download this, I'm just going to select the logo. And in the top right-hand corner, I'm just going to select the middle icon that says Download. And you should see it pop up in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm just going to select that again. So we're just going to select that. And from the pop-up menu, I'm just going to select OK to keep using my Photos app. Once that image is finished loading, I'm just going to right-click that. And from the drop-down menu, I'm just going to select Save As. And I'm just going to make sure that it's saved to my desktop so that way I have easy access to it. And then I'm just going to select Save in the bottom right corner. So now that we have our document saved, we can start our orientation. So the first thing we're going to do after we've downloaded our image is we're going to open up Microsoft Excel. Once Microsoft Excel is open, we're going to select Blank Workbook. So once we have our blank workbook open, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my cursor in the very top left-hand cell, cell A1. In this cell, I'm going to type time. I'm going to click the right arrow on my keyboard to bring me to the cell immediately to the right, cell B1. In this cell, I'm going to type users in millions. Once that's done, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust the width of my cell B so that way my words don't overlap in cell C. So to do that, I'm just going to select B up at the top, and then I'm going to hover my cursor in between cells B and C, and I'm just going to click and drag to elongate cell B so that way my words aren't as compact inside of it. Once that's done, I'm going to click into cell A2 right below time. In this cell, I'm going to type 2014. I'm going to hit the down arrow on my keyboard to bring me to cell A3. In this cell, I'm going to type 2015. I'm going to press the down arrow again to cell A4 and type 2016. We're going to press the down arrow again to cell A5 and type 2017. And then I'm going to press the down arrow one more time and type 2018. Once we have that information plugged in, I'm going to click into cell B2 right underneath users in millions. In this cell, I'm going to type 235.1. I'm going to hit the down arrow to bring me down to cell B3. In this cell, I'm going to type 237.4. I'm going to hit the down arrow again to bring me down to cell B4. In this cell, I'm going to type 246.9. I'm going to hit the down arrow again to bring me to cell B5. In this cell, I'm going to type 255.3. And in cell B6, I'm going to type 262.7. So once we've input all of our data, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a column graph. So to do that, I'm just going to highlight all my data. I'm just going to click cell A1 and drag all the way down to cell B6. Once that's done, I'm going to come up to the green ribbon at the top of the page. The third option from the left is the Insert tab. We're just going to select that. Once that's done, we're just going to come over to our chart section towards the middle, and we're going to select the icon in the bottom right corner of the section. That's our See All Charts. From there, we're just going to select the All Charts tab. Once that's done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select the columns section if it's not already selected. That's the third option from the top. Once that's done, we're just going to select this option in the top right corner. And then we're just going to select OK to insert our chart. So once we've inserted our chart, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to modify it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to click the white area at the top of our graph. And we're just going to select the plus icon. If you look over here to the right hand side, you should see 3 icons. We're just going to select the top one. And we're just going to make sure that we have all the elements that we want checked. So we're going to make sure that our axis is checked. We're going to select axis titles. We're going to make sure that chart titles is select. We're going to select data table. And then we're going to make sure that our grid lines is selected. So once that's done, I'm just going to come over here back to our graph, and I'm just going to double click our graph title. That's the title at the top that says users in millions. Once that's done, I'm going to type in Twitter users worldwide after we finish erasing this previous title. So Twitter users worldwide. Once we have that done, we're going to edit our axis labels. So I'm going to come over here to my x-axis label first. That's the axis on the bottom. I'm just going to double click that. And where it says axis title, I'm just going to type year. Once that's done, we're going to come over to the y-axis title. We're just going to double click that. We're going to erase axis title. And we're going to type in users in millions. So once we have that done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stack our graph. So to do that, I'm just going to right click on one of the blue bars. From the drop down menu, I'm going to select Format Data Series, the very last option. Once you do that, you should notice this panel on the right hand side open. That's our Format Data Series panel. From the icons, I'm going to select the very one on the far left. Looks like the paint bucket. That's our fill in line. We're going to select that. We're going to open up our fill drop down. Once that's done, we're going to select picture or texture fill. Once that's done, you should see an insert picture from option. We're going to select file. And we're going to come over to desktop and we're going to open up our Twitter logo. So I'm just going to select it. And then we're just going to click insert. As you can see, our Twitter user icon has showed up in all of our bars in our graph. Once we have those images inserted into our graph, we're going to come down towards the bottom. You should see an option that says stack and scale with. We're going to select that. And from the option that says units pictures, right now it's set to 1. We're going to change that to 4. And as you can see, it's updated our graph. So that way all of our bars have stacked Twitter logos instead of just the one elongated bird. Once that's done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to label our headings. So to practice labeling our headings, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to exit out of this. You can save it if you want, feel free to. And then we're just going to open up Microsoft Excel again, just that way we can have another blank workbook to start with. So I'm going to click my cursor into cell A1. In cell A1, I'm going to type pie type. I'm going to come over to cell B1 and I'm going to type number of votes. Once that's done, I'm going to edit the width of my cell, so I'm just going to select cell B. And I'm just going to hover between cells B and C and just drag my cursor to the right. Once that's done, I'm going to come to cell A2 right beneath pie type. I'm going to type cherry in cell A2. In cell A3, I'm going to type apple. In cell A4, I'm going to type blueberry. In cell A5, I'm going to type pecan. In cell A6, I'm going to type other. And in cell A7, I'm going to type not available. So just N-A. Once that's done, I'm just going to edit the width of my cells A1 again, just so that way things aren't as compact. So I'm just going to select cell A1 and just hover my cursor between cells A and B and just drag towards the right slightly, just to elongate that cell a little bit. Once that's done, we're going to enter some data. So I'm going to place my cursor in cell B2, right below number of votes. In cell B2, I'm going to type 14. In cell B3, I'm going to type 43. In cell B4, I'm going to type 7. In cell B5, I'm going to type 25. In cell B6, we're going to type 35. And in cell B7, we're going to type 15. All right, guys, so once we have our chart inserted, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make some modifications to it. So to do that, I'm just going to make sure that my chart is selected. From the icons on the right-hand side, I'm going to select the very top one. That's our chart elements icon. From this pop-up menu, I'm going to select data labels. I'm going to select the arrow to the right-hand side of data labels. From that drop-down menu, I'm going to select data callout. Once that's done, we're going to come back over to our pie chart, and we're going to right-click the Apple section. From this drop-down menu, we're going to select the very last option that says Format Data Series. From this panel that opens up on the right-hand side, we're going to select the paint bucket icon. That's our fill in line. From there, we're going to open up our fill section. Once that's done, we're going to select the second option that says solid fill. And then where we see our color option, we're just going to change that from blue to a red. So you can just click that arrow right next to the paint bucket to bring down the color drop-down menu. I'm just going to select a red for us. So once that's done, we're just going to double click back into our chart. And we're just going to change number of votes to TECM Lab favorite pie flavors. So TECM Lab favorite pie flavors. All right, guys, so that concludes our Microsoft Excel graphs orientation. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to email us at unttechlab@gmail.com, and we're going to be sure to reply as fast as we can. You guys can also check out our website at tinyurl.com/TECM site. Thanks for watching.